Today on .com Secrets, we're going to be discussing the fourth chapter, which is the attractive character. Hi, I'm Rodney.
And I'm Anthony.
Join us as we read along chapter by chapter from the .com Secrets. And as discussed, we're talking about the fourth secret, which is the attractive character. Now, I've made notes, and Anthony's read along as well, and made some notes too. So I guess I shall start with what sort of notes I had about the summary with this. Now, reading the attractive character, I did find it very interesting in terms of cementing some sort of persona that you're going to, show the world, however it's going to be. But in the terms of when we had our last business and how we applied that, the notes I made on that, I don't think we really had an attractive character in the stories that we told in that last business. I mean, maybe
we did.
Maybe from the CEO there was, there was a story, from the CEO of how the product was created, and obviously without mentioning names and products, is, that there was a story. But in terms of every communication and everything, like this book says, is that, you have to try and push the attractive character. Would you disagree with what I just said then? You think that there was an attractive character?
There was an attractive character for the brand that we were transmitting or we were promoting, but because we were also as different distributors underneath that, we also had an attractive character.
I understand what you're saying about that each distributor possibly had their own attractive character, because I would certainly say from my experience of working there, because it wasn't just you as my dad working there, it was also my mum, and she was the person that had a lot of contact with the individuals in the beginning, and a lot of the people built up relationships with mum, and she was able to help people, and I think it was a lot of down to her personality and the way that she was able to help a lot of people, while we had those people, those customers that stuck around from the very beginning when we did it. Like, they were customers with us for a very long time.
Yeah, she was the face of the company. Going back to what I said earlier, is the brand that we were transmitting did not really have an attractive character. There was no person who stood out there. It was purely the brand they were selling. But each individual distributor had to have their own attractive character, and that was the lead, the owner, but also the lead educator of it, and that was Mom was the attractive character of ours. She was the face that brought most people in, and then would be recognized wherever she went, whether it was at the shows or in the street, or when she's in the supermarket. She was always noted and identified as the promoter of the product.
One of the concepts from the book was parables, and using the life experiences in order to tell stories of lessons that we've learned and overcome. The struggle of trying it all, I can only say from my personal experience of things that I've done in personal social media, because I am that person and doing it on social media, but getting it to work in a business where possibly there isn't one sort of person, like with Russell, he is the one person for his business, and he can tell stories of how he made their business. But when, I guess, as we were a distributor, we were just one, in a sense, franchise from that, it was hard to sort of tell the stories of the CEO, through us. That's why I'm saying I struggled to think how we could have applied that in our previous business. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we do have a very great backstory, because Mom was one of the founders of the product. She studied to become an educator in the originating country. We brought the product to this thing. She teamed up with a few other distributors in the area or in the country, and each of them went and secured the area, and then started to promote the product from beginning till end. So it was a long story, because it was from start, was scratch. It had to promote, expose people to a total new product, One of the concepts is polarity. Now, that stood in two ways. We were actually going against the market trend, because the current market trend at that point in time was fiberglass and acrylic, and we were the total opposite. We were a healthy gel that they were applying to the nail, which was, and utilized UV light to cure it, rather than glues and acrylics to dry. And so we were totally opposite. We were had to fight our way into the ground, into the area. So that was the true polarity. It also was a product that was totally based on health. It was the healthy alternative to doing nails, because there was a lot of chemicals involved in all the others, and we found that this was something that actually appealed to a lot of people. So we had a great polarity, which was a very positive polarity on our side. The next part of the attractive character is the identity, and there are four identities. Basically, the leader, or the adventurer, crusader, or the reporter, evangelist, or the reluctant hero.
I thought that because Mum was the attractive character in the company, I think that she fell into the leader category, or leader character identity. She knew the struggles and what was needed, and this is how we set out to be so, because she experienced all those problems, like we explained earlier on. Like, she went through the problems of the things and overcame them, had done a lot of training, had all the errors and figured them out, so could show the people how to correctly do it, like we were talking about that manual.
No, she was basically started out as the adventurer. She was going out and covering new ground with a new product, and then lived and went through all the trials and tribulations, which then consolidated into something that she could then become the leader of eventually. Oh,
okay, yeah. I mean, I'm probably talking about, I guess, more towards the end of it, but I guess it's starting out as the adventurer. So yeah, I guess you do, like it does explain, you do change. It's not just one character that you stick to forever. Yeah. It does change eventually, which is, okay, that's interesting. I didn't think about the adventurer part of it.
And the power of the identity is also the reporter, is when you start out something and you don't have the experience or anything, you can go and report on other people's journeys and then create that as a knowledge base, and then you become the reporter of all those people, which then you will acquire that knowledge, and then you can start moving into being the leader of that knowledge base.
Lastly, one of the concepts from this chapter was about storylines, and the notes I made about this was that I thought it was quite funny to think of story structures that should be used.
There were many storylines, and there were three that we used, I think, quite a lot, and that was loss and redemption, us versus them, and also the before and after, because the product used to do something great for you now, before how their nails looked before, and then thereafter what the success we brought to them. And us versus them was a big one, because like we said, we came in with a totally new concept of product, and we were competing against the people who were damaging your nails and doing all this type of things, and now all of a sudden we came along and we were fighting and giving them such a unique product which was going to save them and be so healthy. The point I want to make is that this book should have been around when we were starting business, and that is where I get envious, is that this is available, and everything we were doing had these frameworks which we were unaware of, but we were actually subconsciously or unconsciously doing.
It would be nice if we had a map that we could just know to do it.
Yeah, we went through that and there. And now we look and say, wow, we did skirt around there and we did do that, and we were trying to find our own tribe who liked that. And so these things are now being consolidated in the youth, by younger generations, to appeal to them, to say that you are prepared. It's like the manual to do things correctly. That's why this book is so great.
If you have enjoyed this discussion from the .com Secrets and would like to get yourself a copy, you can actually get a free copy, and I'll link that down below. All you got to do is cover shipping, and then you can join us as we read along every chapter, discussing every secret. Be sure to click the subscribe button so that when there's a new video, you'll be notified. be sure to give this video a like. And if you have any questions, then leave them down below in the comment section. Otherwise, we will see you next time.